Sound off.
Rated T14.
Does young people even need a voice in this community? What can the community expect from this show?
I am my brother's keeper. We got to be responsible for each other.
It's okay to be different.
Building stronger communities by helping the rest of our community really make it and achieve their dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go!
Now, we are sponsored, a proud sponsor of Carolina Teen Health, and the goal of Sound Off is to deal with topics that are relevant to our youth. And with me this morning in the studio is a group of intelligent, good-looking young people. On that note, introduce yourself.
Javante Sarvis here on Sound Off. Brianna Evans.
What's up? It's Angelica.
Melissa Bowles.
Kelsey Watts.
And I'm Troy Martin.
So this morning, guys, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to keep it a little light and we'll just have some good conversations. We hear all the time people say, dare to be different. So that's what we're going to talk about. I was looking, going online, and I pulled a quote and I thought it was really good, and we'll just start with that. It simply says, don't dare to be different, dare to be yourself. If that doesn't make you different, then something is wrong. Doesn't that make you think a little bit? Yes. So you know what? I'm going to put Kelsey Watts on the spot. Kelsey,
no, not yet.
Oh, not yet? Okay, so let's start with the eldest of the group, Angelica.
Yes. What would you like to put me on the spot for?
When you hear the quote, or when you hear someone say, dare to be different, what exactly comes to mind? Because let's just be realistic. When we think about your generation, a lot of people, they just automatically assume that all young people are not being productive. Some young people are doing drugs. Some young people are not being respectful. They're very disrespectful. I care to differ. I think your generation is doing more than that. I think you're doing a lot of positive things. So on that note, what does it really mean when we hear dare to be different?
It means that basically don't blend in with the crowd. If you're doing the right thing and somebody else is doing the wrong thing, then don't feel bad that you're doing the right thing. Do what you know you're supposed to do and get the business done.
Okay, all right, and it's strange. I was just thinking about that, blending out. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. And look, we're not saying that you're perfect, because we know that's utterly ridiculous to think that you guys are perfect. But I know in the studio with me this morning is a group of good young people. I mean, like for instance, Javante, why did you even go to college? You're at Coastal Carolina University, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. The reason I went to Coastal is because I wanted to major in exercise and sports science, which is going to lead me to my future, and wanted to be jobs, which is athletic training.
Okay, all right. So Talissa, what's your take on that? Daring to be different.
Well, I think like the quote says that every individual person has something about them that makes them different and unique. So therefore, if everybody is truly being true to themselves, they're going to be different regardless of what everybody else is doing. So if you truly follow what you know, like myself growing up in a ethnically diverse home, I learned a lot of different views on different things. So therefore, how I was brought up, I'm very open-minded and I'm very interested in different things. So if you stay true to yourself, you're going to be a different person. I think that's what makes the world a great place. In America itself, that's why we're the melting pot, because we have so many different people of different ethnicities that are doing them,
That, you know what, girl, if I could get up, I'll give you a chest butt. That was, you know what, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about this morning. I'm going to Troy, only male in the group at this point. I think Talissa is absolutely, positively right. I mean, for me, I was different because of my convictions. You understand what I'm saying? It's different reasons. You were brought up differently, so now you don't judge, you're open-minded. You are exposed to both races or maybe several races, and which is really good. So Troy, what makes you that different person?
What makes me different?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that make me different. I think that all of us are different obviously for different reasons. But I think a lot, like also with what the quote said, that we shouldn't strive to find what makes us different, because I feel like that should come naturally. Because none of us are exactly the same. Like, we should know that. I can look at Javante and know that we're not the same person, inside or out. And that's okay. I don't think that being different is about striving to find something different in yourself, like the whole non-conformity thing. Non-conformity is kind of just conforming to non-conformity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Everybody else look really confused, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It really does.
So I think there's things about all of us that make us different, and I think we find those out the longer we live, the more that we get to experience those things, and the more that we are faced with situations that allow us to use those.
Good. Okay, Kelsey, let me ask you, Kelsey. We know that, let's be honest, we do have some issues as it relates to young people. I could throw out several things, but let's talk about the fact that we do have a lot of young people that get involved with drugs. I mean, why doesn't Kelsey do drugs?
Well, Kelsey doesn't do drugs because Kelsey doesn't want to go to jail. For one thing, I don't know. I was brought up, like, I guess in a family where some of the people, like he used to do drugs, and that kind of made me, like, strive to not do it because I kind of want to do better for myself and to prove to, like, my whole family that, like, I can, like, excel and, like, actually make something of myself, you know?
Excellent point. So that brings us to, what is your motivation? I definitely could relate to that, because if you see something in front of you growing up, something negative, that should be your motivation to go opposite, to not go in that same path. So would anybody else say that motivation in terms of seeing something negative in front of you has motivated you to do different?
Yes.
Okay. You want to touch on that, Javante?
Even like when I see little kids a lot, they're around people that doing negative things, and then they end up growing up, or as they're growing up, they end up cursing or doing what they shouldn't be doing. And I personally, I don't think little kids should act that way, or young people that's coming up should act that way or do those things. You walking down the street, you see, people on the side, people carrying bags, or just homeless. You don't want to be like that. So when you see them, it pushes you to do better.
Wow, but you know what? The crazy thing is, I remember several years ago, had an opportunity to meet a young man that was very nice, but unfortunately, his dad was in prison for all of his childhood and even into his adulthood. And he said that, you know what, Ms. Schofield, I'll never do drugs, I'll never sell drugs, because I see, I've seen what it did to my dad. But can I just tell you that unfortunately, he's currently incarcerated. So you understand what I'm saying? It has to be, you have to have some type of motivation to keep you from going with the crowd. Standing out. I like what Angelica said, blending out, or Talissa. You have to blend out. But where does that come from? We talked about, Troy, the motivational factor. What else? It could be your convictions in terms of your faith. It could be the fact that you idolize someone in the family and you look up to that individual, and that's the person that you want to emulate. Would you want to touch on that a little bit, Brianna?
With me, it's all a matter of me setting, looking at myself, how I want to be, where I want to be in 10 years. And if doing drugs, smoking, all that stuff is going to keep me from achieving my goals, then I'm not going to do it. It's all a thing with yourself. You have to motivate yourself, not just look for someone else to motivate you and tell you, oh, no, that's not right. You shouldn't do that. You should be able to make yourself do the right thing.
Okay, I'm getting ready to flip it a little bit. Now, I'm old school a little bit. So when I was growing up, I heard birds of a feather flock together. Anybody ever heard that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Now, let's talk about the fact, do you guys think it's possible to have all your friends are doing contrary to what you want to do, and do you think it's possible in the midst of all of that, say for instance, if you want to do well and you want to be productive, but all of your friends, nobody wants to go to school, everybody's smoking weed, everybody's getting high, all your friends are being disrespectful, how realistic is it for you to have that person or those individuals as a best friend and think that you could survive all that?
You can do it.
Yeah.
I think
it's possible?
I think it's.
All right, one at a time. Okay, we're going to go down. What do you say about that, Troy?
I think it's completely possible. Who I hang out with has no influence on my personal beliefs. Yes, they may believe differently, and I love them for their own beliefs. That's why we're friends. But I can still be my own person, separate from them, and then still be my best friend. And I'm not the type of person to let a group of people or any one person keep me from doing what I want to do or what I have to do.
Wow. You know what? Okay. Remember, I'm the adult. Wow. Honestly, that Troy, you might be in a category that's not that really large of a category, because I'm telling you,
that's what makes me different.
You are influenced by your friends. If I check out your top 5 friends, and then I can tell you what your future is probably going to be. I'm telling you, it's hard. You telling me you can hang around with people that smoke weed, that disrespect people, that ain't going to know it, just have no motivation in life, and you still going to be okay, and you could press beyond that.
As long as you have a strong willpower.
Okay, all right. Okay, Brianna, what do you say about that?
As long as you have a strong willpower.
Where does that willpower come from, though?
It comes from your upbringing.
Okay.
For the most part, if you come from a place where your parents are there telling you, yes, you can do this, you'll be strong, your future is bright, you have the ability to just go out and be whatever you want to be, if you keep that in mind, regardless of who your friends are, you can still do what you want to do. I mean, yes, they will have some kind of influence, but you shouldn't let that be over controlling like what you do with your life.
Okay. Okay. Kelsey?
Plus, I think if, like, your friends, if they know who you are and they know what your goals are and they know what you want to achieve, if they're honestly trying to bring you down and make you not succeed, if they know that's what your goal is, then I don't really think they're your friends to begin with, for one thing. For another thing, if you're so big on, like, achieving, like, those goals, I think that your friends, supposedly, if you're, like, act like them, they're going to be around the same thing as you, and you're not going to be friends with those people to begin with.
Okay. What if I just simply throw out, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything?
Yes.
Okay, what comes to mind when you hear me say that?
Just having a strong mind state, because if you don't have a strong mind state and you're easily influenced, like you just sitting there or whatever, chilling with one of your friends, or y'all might be at a party or something, and like, you want to drink, they'll look at you, and just because they're drinking, you'll drink too, because you don't have a strong, you're not strong enough to say no, I don't want anything. You have to have a strong mind state to continue and do what you want to do, not follow up everybody else.
Okay, Angelica?
I think it's thinking about your consequences. I mean, like, if you say you plan to stay abstinent. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Abstinent. And you say, okay, I'm gonna stay abstinent, but you don't have a reason why. You just say it because somebody else said it, but you don't have a true reason why you want to, do that. Then, say a guy comes out, he could say the nicest things to you, and bam, your pants off. I mean, you gotta have a strong reason.
And you know what? You say reason, but you know what? Conviction, maybe?
Conviction,
and
too.
See, that's what we want to talk about. We're going to take a break in a few minutes, but what are some of our convictions? And I'm not, people have different convictions, but I'm telling you, if you are not standing for something, you're going to fall. And that's just all to it. And Troy said it, and that's why it's called Sound Off. It's your voice. Your voice needs to be heard. But as the adult in the room, I'm telling you, I just know that it's kind of impossible to have all of your friends as negative people doing negative things, and it doesn't rub off. I mean, y'all have to convince me. No. I'm saying if you have the majority, if you're the one that's trying to do something, but everybody else, because here's the thing, where's your motivation coming from?
Home.
Okay, good. Okay, Troy, I'm coming back to you.
I just have to say that not all of my friends are the same thing. I don't pick friends based on oh, hey, you do drugs, let's hang out. That's not how it works for me. I pick friends based on who they are. And not all of my friends do drugs. Yes, I do have friends who do drugs. I'm not ashamed to say that. And I have friends who don't. I have friends who feel similar to me. I have friends who don't. And they all do influence me in some ways, but in the end, my choices are my own. True. And I know that. So I'm not one to let someone else make them for me.
You're listening to Sound Off on 98.5 KISS FM. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion on daring to be different.
Hello, Little Beetlejuice. Tune in every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 98.5 KISS FM.
We're the proud sponsor of Carolina Teen Health.
My name is Kiara Williams. We sound off, and you can sound off too.
www.wesoundoff.com.